Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject. And
I would like to continue.
And I would like to make clear that
we'll give you some time. I will get to it. Thank you so much.
This moment unfolds like a political showdown straight out of Washington. Ilhan Omar walks up to the microphone with full confidence, clearly ready to make waves. She comes prepared with notes, facts, and references from major news outlets. Her voice steady and serious, as if she's about to expose a major wrongdoing. Her focus. Betsy DeVos, the Secretary of Education at the time, Omar's mission seems straightforward. Portray DeVos as a corporate insider using her position to benefit close associates. The room grows tense as she begins her questioning, each sentence delivered with precision. But as DeVos starts to answer, the energy shifts. What began as a bold confrontation slowly takes on a different tone. The air feels heavy, cameras are rolling, and Omar appears determined to deliver a moment that will grab the nation's attention.
the individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
Omar opens her questioning by suggesting that Betsy DeVos is surrounded by advisors with close links to major corporations. She hints that these individuals might be using their positions to direct huge sums of taxpayer money toward private companies. It's a serious accusation, and that's exactly how Omar wants it to sound. Throughout her remarks, she repeatedly uses phrases like conflict of interest and corporate influence, keeping the pressure high and emotion strong. Her delivery is confident, her tone deliberate, and every line feels carefully planned. Yet, as she continues, it becomes clear that she's shaping a story more than presenting solid proof. Her intent seems to be to put DeVos on the defensive early, setting the stage for tough questions before the real exchange even begins.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, countless news sources have reported on the conflict of interest that run rampant through your top aides, especially those advising you on higher ed and loan servicing. When responding to questions about these conflicts, you have failed to adequately convince Congress and the American people that these conflicts do not interfere with the billions of taxpayer dollars flowing from education to corporate interests. Today, I would like to better understand your decisions for selecting aides and ensuring that their conflicts do not harm taxpayers. Last May, 4 of my colleagues on this committee sent your General Counsel a request for information about conflict of interest.
At the heart of Omar's questioning is Dr. A. Wayne Johnson, a man with deep experience in finance and student loan management. She points to his past leadership roles at major firms like Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation and First Data Corporation, suggesting that his corporate background could open the door to conflicts of interest. To Omar, this history signals possible corruption, but to many outside the political spotlight, it simply shows that he's well qualified for the job. This is where her argument starts to lose balance. By focusing on his experience as a negative, she ends up criticizing the very skills that make him capable of handling the position. The contrast is striking. What she presents as a red flag could just as easily be seen as a sign of real-world knowledge and professional credibility.
Surrounding your $2 billion next-gen loan servicing solicitation. Given that this solicitation is given, I would like some information about the team that's leading it. Does Dr. A. Wade Johnson, is he the one that's spearheading this solicitation?
Dr. Johnson is head of the Next Gen Initiative.
All right. According to New York Times investigation, Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
When Betsy DeVos finally takes the microphone, the difference between her and Omar is immediately clear. DeVos doesn't raise her voice or react defensively. Instead, she answers in a calm, steady tone, measured and professional. She explains that every member of her team, including Dr. Johnson, has gone through all the required ethics reviews and clearances. DeVos firmly reminds the committee that the Department of Education follows strict conflict of interest policies to ensure accountability. Her steady confidence shifts the tone of the entire exchange. Omar tries to cut in, hoping to regain control, But DeVos stays composed and unshaken. The more she speaks, the more her poise stands out. It's the kind of confidence that comes from being prepared and certain that the facts are on your side.
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject. And
I would like to continue.
and I would like to make clear that
we'll
all
give
of
you
the
some
individuals,
time.
all the
I will
individuals-
get to it. Thank you so much. Dr. Johnson was also the executive at the two financial services companies, First Data Corporation and TSYS. Additionally, Dr. Johnson was hired at least one other TSYS veteran, Mr. Patrick.
Frustrated by DeVos's calm responses, Omar doubles down on her accusations. This time, she demands that DeVos hand over all internal communications related to the NextGen program, emails, memos, anything that could hint at hidden dealings. The request sounds bold, but it feels more like a move to keep the pressure on rather than uncover real evidence that it's a familiar political strategy. When proof is lacking, ask for something unrealistic and use any hesitation as supposed evidence of guilt. Omar's tone grows sharper as she cites federal acquisition rules about avoiding even the appearance of conflicts of interest. Yet, despite the strong language, she still doesn't point to a single clear example of misconduct. The focus drifts from hard facts to emotional appeal, and in doing so, her argument starts to lose its strength and credibility.
Have any of Dr. Johnson's previous employers bid on elements of NextGen solicitation?
Congresswoman, all of my staff, all of my team at the Department of Education and Federal Student Aid has gone through their ethics process, has taken and takes their ethics obligations very seriously. We don't have conflicts, and we will not be conflicted. We have continued to have a robust screening process and can stand and...
Then comes the turning point. Omar asks DeVos directly if she will agree to release any communication between Dr. Johnson and his former employers. DeVos, maintaining his steady tone, replies that she cannot, explaining that the procurement process operates independently and is separate from other internal divisions. Omar pushes again, demanding a simple yes or no. But DeVos doesn't waver. The tension in the room rises as Omar begins to sense her argument slipping away. After all the build-up, her narrative starts to crumble under a straightforward answer. Then DeVos delivers the line that brings the entire exchange to a close. The individual you've referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team. It's calm, factual, and final, a single sentence that quietly dismantles the foundation of Omar's accusations and ends the debate right then and there.
About that.
So given that there is about $2 billion per year in taxpayer dollars flowing through this program, will you commit to releasing communication between the procurement team and any of Dr. Johnson's former employees?
So all of the procurement is walled off from the rest.
That would just be yes or no. Would you be committed to releasing any communication between Dr. Johnson and his employees?
Not to releasing internal communication, but the procurement team.
The room goes quiet after DeVos's calm reply. For a moment, even Omar seems caught off guard. That single clarification undercuts her entire argument. Every point she made, every accusation and emotional appeal, relied on the assumption that Dr. Johnson had a hand in the procurement process. But he didn't. With one short, factual statement, DeVos effectively ends the confrontation. It's the kind of moment that needs no dramatic tone. The truth speaks for itself. Omar is left without a meaningful follow-up, her earlier confidence replaced by visible frustration. The cameras are still rolling, but the momentum is gone. She arrived ready to expose a scandal, only to be stopped cold by a simple fact she hadn't anticipated.
Is walled off from the rest of the team, and the procurement process is very definitely prescribed as to how it has to happen.
That has not clearly answered my question. The federal acquisition regulations have a section on conflict of interest. It states, the general rule is to avoid strictly any conflict of interest or even the appearance of conflict of interest in government contract relations. While many federal laws and regulations place restrictions on actions of government personnel, their official conduct must, in addition, be such that they would not have no
As Omar tries to regain control of the exchange, she shifts her focus to a broader point about public perception. She insists that many people believe there's a conflict of interest, but that belief exists largely because of the narrative she just created through her own questioning. It's an unexpected contradiction that doesn't go unnoticed. Why now? It's clear to everyone watching that this line of inquiry isn't really about uncovering facts or promoting transparency. It's about shaping headlines and creating a viral moment. Yet the strategy backfires. Instead of cornering DeVos, Omar ends up giving her a platform to display confidence, calmness, and professionalism under pressure. What was meant to make DeVos look evasive instead highlights Omar's lack of preparation and weakens the impact of her entire argument.
Reluctance to make a full public disclosure of their actions. You seem to have reluctance to make a full public disclosure of the actions of the head of the department's largest single procurement team, despite there being obvious appearance of conflict of interest. How is your denial to release communication in line with extremely high conflict of interest standards that's required by federal law?
The individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
In the world of political hearings, delivery often matters just as much as the facts themselves, and Betsy DeVos showed complete control of both. She didn't get emotional, raise her voice, or respond with personal attacks. Instead, she relied on professionalism, focusing on clear procedures and the established policies that guided her team's work. Her calm, steady tone made a sharp contrast to the charged atmosphere around her. Each answer she gave quietly reinforced the difference between genuine leadership and political showmanship. By the end, Omar's once confident questioning had lost its impact, while DeVos had strengthened her credibility through composure and clarity. It was a textbook example of how to handle a tense public confrontation, proving that when faced with assumptions or accusations, the strongest response is steady confidence and simple truth.
Okay. But we need the communication that is happening between the procurement team and the employers of Dr. Johnson.
That process is walled off from any other process.
What we just saw wasn't a scandal. It was a failed political takedown that turned into a lesson in composure. Ilhan Omar walked into that hearing ready for a confrontation, but Betsy DeVos came prepared with facts, not emotion. Omar's argument about a supposed conflict of interest never stuck because, as DeVos calmly showed, the conflict simply didn't exist. Instead of exposing wrongdoing, the moment revealed something very different: a composed secretary standing her ground while her critics struggled to keep control. Whether or not one agrees with DeVos's policies, this exchange demonstrated why preparation and calmness often speak louder than outrage. In politics, the person who stays focused usually wins the moment. By the end, it was clear. Omar was looking for a viral headline, while DeVos delivered a quiet masterclass in professionalism. And that raises a question worth asking. Was Omar out of line, or was she just doing her job? Share your thoughts. Moments like these remind us that hearings are not just about answers, but also about how leaders handle pressure in the public eye. If you've watched enough congressional hearings, you start to see a pattern. Many lawmakers walk in aiming for that perfect gotcha clip, something that will circulate on social media within minutes. Omar's tone, timing, and delivery followed that formula perfectly. She wasn't there to debate. She was there to corner. But when DeVos refused to take the bait, the whole plan fell apart. Instead of creating a headline of outrage, Omar accidentally created a moment of calm authority for her opponent. It was a reminder that not all political theater ends with applause. Sometimes, the script collapses in real time, and the person meant to be on the defensive walks away stronger. One of the oddest parts of Omar's questioning was how she framed Dr. Wayne Johnson's experience as something suspicious. But think about it. Criticizing a financial expert for working in finance makes about as much sense as questioning a doctor for having hospital experience. Dr. Johnson's long career in student loan management made him one of the few officials truly equipped to fix a complicated system. Omar's argument missed that completely. Her focus wasn't on logic. It was on optics. To her, professional experience looked like a liability. To DeVos, it represented qualification. That clash between perception and reality defined the entire exchange. When DeVos mentioned the ethics screening process, it might have sounded like standard bureaucratic language, but it was actually a solid defense. Every senior official in her department goes through detailed reviews to ensure they have no financial conflicts. These checks are designed to prevent the kind of wrongdoing Omar was implying. By calmly pointing this out, DeVos redirected the conversation away from speculation and toward procedure. She reminded everyone that government doesn't operate on emotion or assumptions. It runs on established rules meant to protect the public interest. And those rules, not heated exchanges, are what keep taxpayer money safe. If you rewatch the full exchange, one thing stands out clearly. Omar interrupts DeVos several times, cutting her off just as she begins to explain key points. But those interruptions backfire. Every time DeVos pauses and waits calmly before continuing, she reinforces her own credibility. The audience can feel the difference. One person is pushing for drama. The other is simply answering the questions that are in politics. Composure is more than just a personality trait. It's a form of strength. DeVos used it effectively, and Omar underestimated how powerful calm confidence can be in a tense setting. When Omar's direct accusations didn't land, she shifted tactics, claiming that even the appearance of a conflict was troubling. It's a clever political move because it's nearly impossible to disprove. Anyone can say something looks bad, even if no evidence supports it. But DeVos didn't get caught in that trap. She didn't argue about appearances. She stayed focused on the facts. That's the difference between genuine oversight and political theater. DeVos's calm refusal to play into speculation showed she understood that difference completely. Then came one of the most important points of the entire exchange, the explanation of the walled-off procurement process. It might sound technical, but it's crucial. DeVos clarified that the team responsible for awarding contracts works independently from people like Dr. Johnson. There's no overlap, no influence, no opportunity for favoritism. It's a built-in safeguard that ensures fairness in government spending. Omar's argument ignored this detail entirely. Or perhaps she didn't fully grasp its importance. Either way, once DeVos explained it, the foundation of Omar's case disappeared. You can't accuse someone of manipulating a process they're not even part of through it all. DeVos never strayed from her main message. She didn't try to score points or make Omar look bad. She simply repeated the truth, calmly and consistently. That strategy can frustrate aggressive questioners because it takes away the emotional advantage. By not matching Omar's energy, DeVos neutralized it. And that's how you win a hearing without ever raising your voice. The viewers could sense the contrast. One person was performing, the other was informing. Later in the hearing, Omar said the public believes there's a conflict of interest. But that statement revealed something important. Public perception can be created, not discovered. The only reason the public might think there was a conflict was because of the way her questions framed the situation. It's a common media tactic. Raise suspicion first, then point to that suspicion as evidence. But when the full facts come out, that logic falls apart. DeVos's clear, straightforward answers exposed that circular reasoning right on camera often. When moments like this are covered by the media, only the most heated clips are shown. The interruptions, the sharp exchanges, the tension, the explanations and clarifications rarely make the final cut. That's how misleading narratives form. But this time, the full video circulated online, and viewers could see exactly what happened. Instead of making DeVos look evasive, the footage showed her handling herself with calm authority. What was meant to damage her image actually strengthened it. By the end of this exchange, one message stood out above everything else. Facts still matter. No amount of political pressure, performance, or framing can overpower simple truth delivered with clarity. Ilhan Omar came to make a point. Betsy DeVos came to provide answers. And in that difference lies the outcome. This wasn't just another policy debate. It became a powerful reminder that professionalism, composure, and respect for process can still prevail in American politics.